Hey, welcome back. Or maybe welcome for the first time. Either way, I'm really glad you're here. So today I want to talk about something that honestly has completely changed the way I see myself, my anxiety, my reactions, my healing, and just the human brain in general. And before I even start, let me just say this. I'm not a doctor. I'm not pretending to be a neuroscientist. I'm not some spiritual guru floating on a mountain somewhere drinking green tea and pretending I've mastered inner peace. I'm a mom, a stressed out, overwhelmed, anxious, imperfect human being who spent a very long time feeling stuck inside my own head. And honestly, a few months ago, I was in one of the darkest mental places I've been in a very long time. I was exhausted, depressed, emotionally reactive, constantly overwhelmed. My nervous system felt like it was on fire 24/7. And I remember laying in bed one day thinking, there has to be more than this. Not in a dramatic way, just generally wondering why I felt trapped in patterns I couldn't seem to stop. Why did I always react the same? Why did my body feel anxious when nothing was wrong? Why did my brain feel so addicted to stress? Why couldn't I understand things logically but emotionally feel completely different? And honestly, I started researching because I was desperate. Not desperate in a scary way, but for understanding and hope. So I started listening to podcasts, reading articles, watching videos, learning about the brain, the nervous system, neuroplasticity, polyvagal theory, binaural audio beats, meditation, thought loops. And at first, a lot of it sounded ridiculous. Like, what do you mean my brain created pathways? My nervous system is stuck, and I've spent years unknowingly reinforcing the same emotional highway over and over again. But then the more I learned, the more things started clicking. And for the first time in my life, I stopped viewing myself as broken. I started viewing myself as conditioned. And that changed everything. So let's talk about polyvagal theory in the most normal person way possible. Because when I first heard the term, I immediately wanted to shut the podcast off. It sounded so scientific and intimidating. But it's basically pretty simple. Polyvagal theory explains how your nervous system responds to safety and danger. So your body is constantly scanning your environment, even subconsciously. It's asking, am I safe or am I not safe? And depending on that, your body shifts into different states. There's the calm, connected state where you feel grounded, social, safe, present. Then there's fight or flight, anxiety, panic, anger, irritation, hypervigilance. Sound familiar? Yeah. And then there's shutdown, which is heavy. I mean, that heavy feeling where you just feel numb, exhausted, depression, disconnection, wanting to hide from the world, not wanting to answer texts, even from your most loved ones, and just not wanting to get out of bed. And when I learned this, I literally sat there staring at the wall because I realized, oh my God, my body isn't fighting me. It's trying to protect me. And that hit me hard because for years I judged myself for my reactions. Why am I like this? Why can't I relax? Why do small things feel so huge to me? Why am I so emotional? Why do I snap? Why do I spiral? And why do I physically feel anxious when I know I'm okay? And learning about the nervous system helped me realize my body had learned these survival patterns. And survival patterns become habits. And habits become pathways. Now here's the cool part. Your brain can change. Literally. This is called neuroplasticity, which is basically your brain's ability to rewire itself over time. And no, before anybody gets excited, There is unfortunately no overnight switch. Trust me, I've searched for one. I wanted that magic button, the instant fix, the listen to this one meditation and become emotionally healed by Thursday package. Sadly, that's not how it works, because if you've spent decades reinforcing fear, anxiety, self-criticism, shame, stress, anger, negativity, people-pleasing, emotional suppression, or trauma responses, those pathways are really strong, and your brain got efficient at them. It practiced them over and over for years. But here's the hopeful part. Your brain can also practice new ones. That's the part nobody told me. They can literally strengthen calmer pathways. You can slowly teach your nervous system safety again. You can train the brain to automatically stop expecting danger everywhere. Not overnight, not perfectly, but gradually. Kind of like walking through a field. If you walk through the same path every single day for 20 years, easy, automatic. But if you suddenly decide to create a new path, at first it feels uncomfortable. The grass is high, it feels unnatural, you forget. You go back to the old trail, but eventually the new pathway becomes stronger too. And I think that's what's really healing. Not becoming some perfectly positive robot, but slowly building emotional pathways. And honestly, one of the biggest things helping me has been understanding what's actually happening inside of my brain and body. Because the knowledge removes the shame. If I understand why my nervous system reacts the way it does, I can work with it instead of hating myself for it. And I also want to say this because this part matters to me. Just for the longest time hearing the phrase, just think positive or choose happiness, honestly made me want to scream. Like, respectfully, if somebody is deeply struggling, that advice can be so dismissive. Because no, you can't just magically force happiness. But what I have learned is tiny thought shifts repeatedly, consistently over time actually do matter a lot. Not fake positivity, not delusion, not pretending everything is wonderful while your life is on fire. I'm talking about slowly interrupting destructive patterns, catching yourself, questioning things, becoming aware. Because awareness changes everything. And once you start observing your patterns, you slowly stop being controlled by them. And that's huge. And I also want to talk about binaural audio. Basically, excuse me. Yeah, I want to talk about binaural audio because I know, some people hear that phrase and immediately think, oh, great, here comes some weird crystal lady. And listen, I get it, because at first I was skeptical too, but binaural beats are actually rooted in brainwave entrainment. So basically, certain sound frequencies can help influence brainwave states associated with relaxation, focus, meditation, sleep, and calmness. And no, it's not magic. It's not hypnosis. It's not mind control. Nobody's turning you into a chicken. But I personally noticed that certain frequencies genuinely help me calm my nervous system, especially at night, during anxiety, or when my thoughts just feel really loud. And I think part of healing is finding tools that help you regulate your body. Because healing isn't just mental, it's physical too. And I think a lot of us have spent years disconnected from ourselves. Your body stores stress, your muscles store it, your nervous system. We've all feel overstimulated. I mean, we're all overworked, overthinking, constantly scrolling, comparing ourselves constantly to other people, running on adrenaline. And and wondering why we feel so awful. And generally, many people don't realize how activated their systems are until they experience that one moment of calm. And then realize, like, oh wow, I've been running on survival this entire time. And that's the realization that changed me. And I also want to say this. Please don't compare yourself to someone else's healing, because some people grew up in calmer environments. Some people didn't, some people have stronger support systems. Some don't. Some people are naturally more regulated. People are deeply sensitive. Some aren't. That doesn't make you weak. In fact, I think sensitivity can become a superpower once you learn how to manage it instead of it drowning you or letting you drown in it. And I'm still learning. I still have hard days. I still get overwhelmed. I spiral. I get anxious. I get angry. And I catch myself falling into my old patterns. But the difference now is I notice it. And awareness creates choice. And that's powerful. A few months ago, I genuinely felt stuck in survival mode. And now I actually feel hope. Not fake hope. Maybe I can change. Maybe I can heal. Maybe I don't have to stay this version of myself forever. And if you're listening to this right now, feeling stuck, please hear me when I say this. Your brain is capable of change. Your nervous system is capable of change. You're not doomed to stay exactly as you are forever. Even listening to conversations like this, learning, reflecting, becoming curious about yourself, that matters. Your brain changes through repetition, experience, awareness, practice, environment, thought patterns, behavior, belief. And honestly, the best part about so much of this work is it's free. Breathing, walking, meditation, journaling, awareness, learning, nature, music, connection, mindfulness. These things sound simple because they are, but simple doesn't mean ineffective. And I think the modern world has conditioned us to believe that healing has to be complicated. Sometimes healing starts with finally slowing down long enough to hear yourself think. And if you take absolutely nothing else from this episode, please remember this. There is no shame in needing help. There is no shame in being overwhelmed. There is no shame in struggling. And there is no shame in being human. And there is absolutely no age limit on changing your life. Your brain can change and learn new patterns at 20, 40, 60, 70. As long as you're alive, change is possible. Slowly, imperfectly, messily, but possible. And honestly, I think that's beautiful. So if you're someone out there struggling right now, feeling trapped inside your own mind, please don't give up on yourself. Your current state is not your final form. And trust me, if someone like me can start changing after years of anxiety, stress, overthinking, and emotional chaos, you absolutely can too. Thank you for listening. And if this episode resonated with you at all, just know you're not alone. We're all figuring it out together.